Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back for another video for this week. This week's video is going to be a little bit different. So usually, you just hear me talk for like roughly 10 minutes on a topic. Today, what I'm going to be doing actually is I want you to listen to somebody that I found recently in the YouTube world. I feel their content is really, really good and important. I don't know how interesting you're going to find it, but I think the topic should be very interesting to you, as you can see from the thumbnail. It's about, does science disprove creation? And so I found this person. His name is James Tour. He is a professor at Rice University. He's a professor there, and he's a very accomplished synthetic organic chemist. I don't know that actually his specialty before a certain point in his life, like maybe in more recent years, was origin of life research. But because of the origin of life research that he was seeing, he started to really get into it because essentially what he saw was there were a lot of chemists who were doing origin of life research. So people who are researching how did life begin here on our Earth. The claims that they were making about their research, he came to see were either exaggerated or even false. And so he went on to show why, through the science itself, why what they're saying isn't true or is highly exaggerated. And then he kind of got into this huge kind of YouTube beef with this other professor who I don't think is nearly as accomplished as him, but this guy like started attacking him. So Dr. James Tour responded to this guy. They had this big debate. Long story short, Dr. James Tour, overall through the science, he has not been unproven. He has not been really challenged either, like by some of the top organic chemists in the world. They have not yet answered any of his questions when it comes to the things that we have not yet discovered about origin of life. And so overall, from Dr. James Tour's point of view, we have not gotten even close to finding out the origin of life just because we can't replicate anything that we're theorizing. What that means is that scientists say, well, this is how we think life came to be according to such and such piece of data or evidence. And so although they might have that little bit of data or evidence, how you piece those things together, it's kind of like how you put the puzzle pieces together. Dr. James Tour is saying is nowhere near complete. It's nowhere near close to being solved at this time. And so that's all he's really saying. He is seemingly, from my perspective, a very strong Christian. And so because of that, people discount him. People want to attack him. People think that because he's a strong Christian, it's clouding his mind. But he's just saying purely from the perspective of science, this has not been proven. We're not even close. And if we are, then please show me the evidence and show me where I'm wrong. And as of today, after years of putting out this challenge, no one has challenged him or taken up that challenge. And so here's just a clip of Dr. James Tour. I just wanted to give you a good clip from him so you can, I guess, be exposed to his work and his content. And if you're interested, you can go and watch more of his content. Or you can ask me for like the too long didn't read or didn't watch version. But yeah, here we go. Without further ado, here's Dr. James Tour.
Okay, so I've studied organic chemistry now for 45 years. I got my PhD in organic chemistry probably 40 years ago, and working in this area, and I do a lot of research in this area. Have a lot of publications, a large research group, a lot of patents. And this is what I do. I build molecules for a living. And this is not unique to me. Many people build molecules for a living. But what happens when you build molecules for a living, you know what they do and what they don't do. You know the kinds of reactions that they undergo. You know what parts of the molecules are going to react under what conditions. And people who have spent years in the laboratory building molecules have a very good understanding on how they react and the things that they do and the things that they don't do. One could say I was blissfully unaware that I was stepping into a minefield. And I heard some people speaking about evolution. And I was getting angry because some of the things that were being said I knew chemically could not happen. And then a friend of mine, David Berlinski, said, Jim, why don't you write an article about this? And so I started really digging into this and what the claims are. And I wanted to go back to the beginning, pre-evolution. What started this whole thing? And so there's this area called abiogenesis. I had never studied it before. And this is about 6 or 7 years ago, I suppose. And so I started reading about it. I started asking my colleagues. I asked my colleagues, how do they think carbohydrates were first made? How did these molecules start forming? And a friend of mine who's a very talented synthetic chemist, Casey Nicolau, who's here at the university, said, "Oh, these are made by the Foremost reaction." And so I started looking that up, and other colleagues started sending me some papers by a man named Albert Eschenmoser, the original work on the abiogenical routes to carbohydrates. And I read those, and it was a bunch of nonsense. It showed that this is absolutely how carbohydrates could not have been made. They're too messy. They don't give you the enantiomer compounds that you need. And it was just one paper after another by a litany of people that showed that this is how the chemistry could not have worked. Their own data screamed out, this could not be the way that these things had been made. So I wrote an article on it, and then I got a lot of feedback. I got an invitation to speak on this. So I would go and give a few lectures on this. And then I started getting attacked. And I didn't try to attack anybody. I was just attacking the work. But what was coming back at me were very personal attacks. That I was acting nefariously, that I was saying that people must be that people, anybody that would believe this is corrupt or stupid, or something like that. And I never said that. I never made an ad hominem attack against these people, as far as I know. And if one slipped out, I apologize. But their attack on me was never addressing my scientific claims. Never. It was addressing me personally. And so, here I found myself in a new minefield, but I wasn't backing down because I knew that I was in the right, and that eventually this is going to blow this area open. But they're really high profile people. And what's happened is whatever they come up with, the press ramps it up an order of magnitude. So they ramp it up, and then the press ramps it up even more, and it gets into our textbooks. And this is what our young people are learning. So that the primordial soup model, that in some pool somewhere, these molecules started forming, and then they came together and formed a cell, and then higher order structures, and that's how you got life. That's the primordial soup model. That model is not just in elementary school textbook, not just in high school textbooks. This runs right up into college and upper level college textbooks, this primordial soup model, and there's no basis for it. There's nothing there. There is nothing there. So I figured I'm just going to talk about the chemistry. That's all I know is chemistry. And so I'll talk about it.
Okay. And so I wanted to show that video from Dr. James Tour just to expose you to a good Christian scientist. So not a Christian scientist, actually, that's a whole different religion, but a scientist who is Christian, explain just the kind of work that he does. And from his point of view, as one of the top synthetic organic chemists in the world, we're still so far from figuring out the origin of life. My perspective is actually it wouldn't even matter that much to me if somehow scientists figured out how to make a simple cell, and they're extremely confident about the origin of life, that it started from the primordial goo and all that. That personally actually wouldn't really shake my faith. It would be surprising, very, very surprising, but it personally would not shake my faith. There's some reasons for that. Maybe I'll share that on a different day and time. But I just wanted to expose you to this because I think we get this idea that somehow science is facts and evidence, and Christianity is just blind faith, and that's simply not true. It's not even close to being true, actually. There is a lot of good science that we Christians care about and should care about, and we use. But then we have to know what the truth is, and unfortunately, a lot of people out there have a certain agenda to say what the truth is, with no real evidence to back that up, right? No real reason to say that. Like it is, when you really kind of get to the core of it, it is kind of a religion of its own, where people are, for whatever reason, they are putting out these claims that are either exaggerated or false. And so anyway, I wanted to expose that to you. If you liked what you heard, then go check him out, Dr. James Tour. I'll probably put a link down below for his YouTube channel. Go check him out. But if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Leave a comment. Always love your comments. Leave a question if you have one. But that's it for today. God bless you. Love you. Peace.